Good morning, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Piccinini, and today is Monday, July 6th. It's our very first day of ESY together. Because it's our first day, I want to go over our daily to-do list. This will be posted in Google Classroom for you every morning by 8 a.m. And it's going to be a list of your activities and assignments for the day. Today, I'm actually also going to go over the to-do list and include the lesson video in one. Normally, the to-do list is just going to be posted and your lesson videos will be separate. Today, you're going to go to Brain Pop Junior and watch an Independence Day video. Next, you're going to do the guided reading lesson with me that I'm going to go over. Third, you have a math game that is posted in Google Classroom, and it's a dice game. If you don't have dice at home, you can click right here to this link and it will bring you right to free online dice. Next, sometime this week, I'd like you and your mom or dad or a grown-up in your house to please sign up for my Seesaw classroom so that you can post to your Seesaw journal. When you post activities to your Seesaw journal and you can send me notes, I can then write you back, and I can also record videos for you there. You're going to relax and read, and that's when you'll choose a quiet space and read independently for 15 to 30 minutes, anything that you want. We're going to have guided reading in small groups. Today, I'll be meeting with the blue group at 9:30 a.m. If you'd like to have one-on-one support for assignments, if you want to meet with me or a teacher's aide, your mom or dad can click this Sign Up Genius right here to sign up for one. This is our weekly Google Meet schedule. It's a rotating schedule so that we can work it out with related service providers. So you'll see that the schedule is going to be posted every day. All right, let's get started. We're going to start with some comprehension reading for the 4th of July. Now, when we do this type of reading, sometimes this reading is a little bit tricky. It's going to have some tricky words. I'm going to introduce those tricky words, and some of them will also be reviewed in the Brain Pop video that you're going to watch. When we do close reading, we want to read a passage 3 times. We read it 3 times, and each time we're reading for a different purpose. The first time we read, we're reading just to get the gist. I'm just going to read this passage to you straight through. Next, you'll go back and do a reread. That's your second read. When you do your second read, well, we're reading for details. We're reading to think deeply about the passage. Finally, you're going to do your third read. Your third read is when you read to respond to the prompt. That's when you're going to look at the questions that the person is asking you, and you're going to think about your answer, and you're going to respond to it based on what we read. So let's get started. We're going to do our first read together. The 4th of July. The 4th of July celebrates. Notice how this C makes a S sound. The 4th of July celebrates the day that the Declaration of Independence was signed. On that day, the original 13 colonies became free from British control. People celebrate the 4th of July with picnics and barbecues. Towns often put on parades during the day and let off fireworks at night. Our first read, where I read it to you just to get the gist, the only word that I really identified for you was celebrate. That's a tricky word because the C doesn't make the k sound that it's usually supposed to. It makes the sound, celebrate. I see this word again later in the passage over here for this sentence. People celebrate the 4th of July with picnics and barbecues. There's 2 other words that I want you to also notice in this passage. These are called compound words. I'm sorry, there's just the one. No, there are 2. The first one that I want you to notice is right over here in this second sentence. On that day, the original 13 colonies became free from British control. Became, that's a compound word. When we clap it out for our syllables, became. Clap it with me. became. That's called a compound word because these two words here could actually be two separate words. They could hang out all by themselves. Right now, they're just smushed together. Be, that's a sight word. You know that one. Came, that's another sight word. It's one of the ones with the tricky E on the end. That bossy E makes the vowel say its name. When we put them together, became. Here's another compound word I want to point out to you. Fireworks. Again, those are two words that really could be all by themselves in a sentence, but here we smush them together to make one word. The first part of that compound word, fire. The second part of that compound word is the word works. Fireworks. Fireworks. All right, now you're going to go ahead and do a second read, right? We were reading for details, and the details that I went over with you were some of those word work things that we did. Last, you can do a third read with a sibling or a grown-up. And once you do that third read, you're going to think about, well, what are they asking me? What do they want me to know? Well, we can think about that by looking at the questions. The 4th of July celebrates what? What does the 4th of July celebrate? 2. How do people celebrate the 4th of July? How do people celebrate the 4th of July? Well, I'm going to look at the text to help me answer these questions. I'm going to look back, and now's when I'm going to do that third read to think about how I want to respond to these questions. Here's how I responded to the questions. The 4th of July celebrates the day the 13 colonies became free. The second question, how do people celebrate the 4th of July? Sometimes people celebrate with parades. This year, my family had a barbecue at home. Think about how I answered these questions, and you can answer the questions any way you'd like. But notice in my responses, in my answers to the questions, I went back to the text. I went back to see in my third read, well, what did the author tell me? The author told me about how the 4th of July gets celebrated and why it gets celebrated. Then in my answer, I shared what my family did for the 4th of July. What did you do for the 4th of July? Can you tell me? Work on this with a sibling or a grown-up. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye.